In a move that has sent shockwaves through the international community, the United States has abruptly suspended its intelligence sharing and military aid to Ukraine. This decision, confirmed by CIA Director John Ratcliffe, follows a heated confrontation at the White House between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The suspension, a significant escalation in U.S. policy towards the ongoing conflict, has raised concerns about Ukraine's ability to defend itself against Russian-backed separatists in the eastern Donbas region. The suspension of aid marks a turning point in the West's support for Ukraine, which has relied heavily on U.S. military assistance since the conflict began in 2014. The decision has been met with criticism from both Democrats and Republicans, who argue that it undermines Ukraine's sovereignty and emboldens Russia's President Vladimir Putin. The move has also sparked fears of a potential escalation of the conflict as Ukraine finds itself increasingly isolated on the world stage. At the heart of the suspension lies President Trump's deep skepticism about Zelensky's commitment to seeking a peaceful resolution to the conflict in eastern Ukraine. Sources within the administration have revealed that Trump left the meeting with Zelensky unconvinced of the Ukrainian president's willingness to engage in good-faith negotiations with Russia. Trump, known for his unconventional approach to foreign policy, appears to be using U.S. aid as leverage to pressure Zelensky into taking concrete steps towards a negotiated settlement. Zelensky, for his part, has publicly expressed his commitment to finding a peaceful solution to the conflict. He has repeatedly called for a resumption of peace talks and has even offered to meet with Putin directly. However, Zelensky has also insisted that Ukraine will not cede any territory to Russia and will continue to defend itself against aggression. This stance, while understandable given the circumstances, appears to have done little to assuage Trump's doubts. The suspension of U.S. aid has left Ukraine in a precarious position. The country is now faced with the daunting task of defending itself against a more powerful adversary, without the crucial military and intelligence support it has come to rely on. While Ukraine has made strides in modernizing its armed forces in recent years, it remains heavily outmatched by Russia in terms of military hardware and manpower. The loss of U.S. support will undoubtedly make it more difficult for Ukraine to deter further Russian aggression. The situation is further complicated by the fact that Ukraine finds itself increasingly isolated on the world stage. While the European Union has condemned Russia's actions in eastern Ukraine and imposed sanctions on Moscow, it has been reluctant to provide Ukraine with the same level of military support as the United States. This has left Ukraine in a vulnerable position, caught between the geopolitical ambitions of Russia and the West's hesitance to become directly involved in the conflict. The suspension of U.S. aid to Ukraine is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the high stakes involved in the ongoing conflict. While the Trump administration's decision may be intended to pressure Ukraine into seeking a negotiated settlement, it also carries the risk of backfiring and leading to an escalation of violence. The only viable path forward lies in a renewed commitment to dialogue and diplomacy. For peace to prevail, both Ukraine and Russia must be willing to make difficult compromises. Ukraine will need to be prepared to offer concessions on issues such as the status of the Donbas region, while Russia must be willing to withdraw its support for the separatists and respect Ukraine's territorial integrity. The international community, particularly the United States and the European Union, must also play a constructive role by providing both sides with the necessary incentives to reach a lasting agreement. The alternative, a protracted conflict in the heart of Europe, is simply too dangerous to contemplate.